Hey there, demons. It's me, your boy, naked, hanging out, and I just want to say, they finally did it. They got rid of some of the most annoying and boring cards in the format. Say goodbye to Kitty Oven. Say goodbye to the most broken draw spell in the history of Magic, as well as the most broken Planeswalker ever. And this annoying 4-mana enchant that also does crazy things to your mana. This upsets the metagame incredibly and beautifully, if I might say so. As someone that's played all of these decks, I will tell you without a doubt that each of these cards is predictable, limits interaction, monotonous, and I am not sorry that they are gone. Farewell, good riddance to all 4 of these cards. So, that's probably leaving all of you with a question, with a wonder. What's next? What could possibly follow Teferi Time Raveler going into every deck with those colors just to shut down annoying counter decks? Well, it's gone now, so Flash is in. Counter spells are in. Instant speed interaction isn't dead in your hand anymore, everyone. Ugh. No more shenanigans. Thank you, Wizards of the Coast. You should have done it months ago. Growth Spiral. Let's talk about that one next. Not overpowered by itself, but in a format where you can ramp to Ugin on turn 4. This card by itself is insane. Instant speed, draw a card. You can put a land from your hand on the battlefield. Beautiful. It's just as good as Rampant Growth was, but at instant speed, and you get another card. So boom, 2 cards for 1 card at 2 mana at instant speed. Wilderness Reclamation. What can I say that hasn't already been said? Doubles your mana, allows for crazy hijinks with your lands, blast zone, castles. Ugh. Not to mention those pesky explosions. Ugh. Shark typhoons. All because you couldn't remove an enchantment in best of 1. Which, who wants to put enchantment removal in your deck in best of 1? Not me. Ugh. No thank you. That being said, oh man, am I glad to see it go. So, with it, Temur Reclamation. 4-color Reclamation, which again was just Temur Reclamation featuring our most hated of Planeswalkers. T3, you're gone. And then finally, the only real ban of this update, Cauldron Familiar. All the rest of these would be gone in a month. With Zendikar Rising, goodbye to those 3 cards. But with 7 decks in a top 8 list being Temur Reclamation or 4-color Reclamation, I guess they finally wanted to shake up the metagame just a little bit before rotation. That being said, Cauldron Familiar. A 1-1 for 1 that gains you 1 and loses them 1. And that comes back to life if you sacrifice a food token. Seems innocuous at first. However, this is a 2-card combo value engine when combined with Witch's Oven. It's hard to say that it's an overpowered value engine, but when you combine it with cards like Priest of the Forgotten Gods or Mayhem Devil, well, it is. It allows you to gain life. It gives you board presence. It's a nice chump block. Ugh. And all the while, you're tick-tock, 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 advancing the clock against your opponent. And for that, I'm sorry to see it go. But as far as the most monotonous of the 4 cards we have banned today, that was definitely it. Anyone that's played Sacrifice, be it Jund, be it Black-White, be it Black-Red, Rakdos Sacrifice, we all know how tedious it can be to wait till the end of your opponent's turn and then sacrifice your kitty cat then eat your pie and watch the kitty cat come back in, and then maybe if you have another oven, sacrifice it again, and then eat your pie. Ugh. I'm glad it's gone, just because that took forever. And honestly, there were games where I conceded to Rakdos or Jund Sacrifice just because I didn't want to wait that long. That being said, where does this leave us? Well, that's what we're here to discuss today. First, we're going to talk about Mardu Nota. So, Mardu Nota is a deck that placed in the top 8 this past weekend, and it's wonderful. What you see here is a Mardu deck that doesn't just win by getting a bunch of Winota triggers out. It uses a bunch of really cost-efficient 1-drops, 2-drops, gets a lot of non-humans down for Winota, but then can also pump them with a Venerated Loxodon. Can make them invulnerable if they're legendary with General's Enforcer. Really capitalizing on the value of many of these coming into play with an extra creature attached to them. So, they do that, they pump them up, they swing, lots and lots of damage, lots of very fast play with the added chef's kiss of Winota on top. Winota fetching things like Judith, the Scourge Diva, Tajic, General's Enforcer, and Basri's Lieutenant. Another really cool addition from M21. Basically gives a lot of recursion to the creatures that you've already put +1/+1 counters on using Loxodon. Or, as CGB calls him, Elephant Juice. You have Gigantha, the Wellspring, because you can. Why not take a free card? In this case, there's really no build restriction as to have it or not have it. It's just a 5/5 for 5 that you can fetch for 3. Whatever. So, might as well, right? Still got this weird visual bug, but hey, that's how it goes sometimes. All in all, I like this deck. I think it's very interesting. It's got Wrath Protection in the form of Judith, in the form of Basri's Lieutenant, and it really gets a lot of creatures out on the board fast and swings with Winota, which is even scarier. Be on the lookout for this. I'll include the deck list in the comments below. Up next is everybody's favorite, Monogram. So this is a pretty typical take on Mono Green. This one in particular I love because it's got everything that just feels super Mono Green to me. In this case, Pelt Collector, everybody's favorite 1-drop. Stonecoil Serpent, another 1-drop if you need it, that you can also hold on to and play as a big boy later on using, Castle Garenbrig or just all the mana that you've got sitting around. Primal Might, one of those good cards from M21, pumping up your creatures, removing an object in the middle of your big attack, and then allowing you to swing for a big damn, because he doesn't like swinging for big damn. Ram through, again, similar situations, it can be a win con, just like Primal Might. In this case, if they've got just this impenetrable field that you cannot get through, but you only need that tiny little bit of damage left. You ram through their 1/1 with someone like Gem Razor on top of a big old Stonecoil Serpent, and you deal damage through that 1/1 for the win. Both good. Both have their reasons for being in the deck. Ugh, so nice. Barkhide Troll, again, really good. Anti-removal card. As long as you've got 1 mana and a +1/+1 counter, he's basically got hexproof. Scavenging Ooze, we all know why. We all knew why. He was a kitty-proof guy. He got rid of our cats. He got rid of all of our reanimator, call targets, etc. Not to mention Uro. Man, this guy has eaten so many Uros. It's beautiful. And he gets bigger and gains you life the entire time. I like Garrick's Harbinger here, as well as Questing Beast. Some people were like, oh, you should play one or the other, because one gets out on the field sooner, and then you can get some card advantage. I like having both. Sue me. Questing Beast is one of the best 4-drops I've seen in 10 years plus of playing Magic the Gathering. Sure, it's legendary, but it can't be chumped. It's got Vigilance, it's got Death Touch, it's got Haste, and oh, by the way, it goes face. and it kills your Planeswalker. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. And then you got Shifting Ceratops, which I will be sad to see go. But in a format where I feel like counterspells are back on the menu, I want this in my deck. It's shark proof. It's blue proof. It's beautiful. I love it. Please stay. What do you want? Jim Razor nowadays, with the loss of Cat, with the loss of Wilderness Reclamation, loses some of its utility. But you know what else it kills? Lucky Clover. Lucky Clover and the adventure decks that are going to come with it, I feel, are going to be much more prevalent in this new meta, especially given how much value you can get casting Granted and having it copied on the stack and getting two very specific, very wonderful rock, paper, scissors-esque counters to whatever deck you're playing against is just so good for a 2-mana Elspeth Conquers Death proof artifact. Ugh, we gotta have Jim Razor still. Oven might be done, but Clover's coming in hot. Clover is coming in hot. Other than that, we've just got cost-efficient creatures, you know? We've got our Lovestruck Beast because, hey, it's BOGO. You know, you get one, then you get the other. It's so good. I love it. Toss one Mobilized District in there just because, you know, sometimes you might want a 3/3 for 4. Really, truly, though, it's replaceable. If you don't feel like running that, run another Castle Garen Brig. If you don't feel like spinning the wild cards on a Mobilized District, given that it's about to rotate out, boom. Get a castle. Get all the castles. The castles are great. I love them. Please, craft them. In the sideboard, we've got numerous things that you'll want. Wildborn Preserver is pretty neat. Allows you to pump it up. Gets big. Jim Razor, again, because if we go up against adventure decks, we want to kill their Clovers. Against Mono Green, we've got Oakham Adversary. We've got another Questing Beast, another Shifting Ceratops. Elder Gargaroth makes an appearance. I have Great Hinge in the sideboard, and that's mostly because I have Garruk's Harbinger in the deck. And you can have a great curve with like a turn 1 Heart's Desire, a turn 2 Scavenging Ooze, a turn 3 Lovestruck Beast, followed by a turn 4 Great Hinge, and that's wonderful. Don't get me wrong. I think that this is a great card, but it's vulnerable. Everything eats a Great Hinge, from the Jim Razors to the Elspeth Conquers Death. It's just going to go away. And then, I don't know. Sure, you could say that everything beats Garruk's Harbinger, but nothing from black does. Sue me. And then Voracious Hydra just gives you something to do with all your extra mana in the late game. It's got Trample. It can get real big, especially when you have a couple of Castle Garen Brigs in play. 24/24 Voracious Hydra sounds good. Or just a 12/12 or 12/13 that just, you know, bashes something in the face. Really great for those long games that you might see more of now. But yeah, Mono Gronk. Definitely invest stonks. Alright. Back to Simic Flash. Now this is a deck that everybody has wanted to be good for a very long time, because it's very much the almost blue tempo deck. Really truly, the only card that survived in this deck from this band that's green is Nightpack Ambusher. I believe that, yes, they used to run Growth Spiral. Is Growth Spiral necessary for this deck? No, it is not. This deck gets out creatures and keeps mana up for counterspells. That's the whole name of the game. What I did, instead of running Growth Spiral, what I've done is substituted in Frantic Inventory for Growth Spiral. You want 2 cards for 2 mana at instant speed? In Standard? This is how you do it. Maybe you don't get it with the first one, but you get it with the second one. You get more with the third. And you get more with the fourth. And sure, you might lose a couple to a Scavenging Ooze here or there, but they're definitely going to be prioritizing creatures, and they don't have unlimited mana. So you still have a very good opportunity with a card like this, especially, you know, when we harken back to the days of Accumulated Knowledge and think that, yes, this is slightly worse because Accumulated Knowledge would copy all, or not copy, but count all copies of Accumulated Knowledge in all graveyards. This one, though, is still very strong, and I think probably the next best blue draw spell to Growth Spiral now. Other than that, we just play cheap creatures that either become threats or are threats. You've got Spectral Sailor, which if you don't know that this is a card advantage genius, then I don't know what to tell you. You've got this in combination with Sea Dasher Octopus for just continuous pecking away at their life total while also drawing a card. You've got Brazen Borrower, a 3/1 flyer, nothing to shake a stick at. That also typically returns those big bads and makes them pay for it again. Brineborn Cutthroat is another great, low-cost, efficient creature that just gets bigger and better every time you play a spell on their turn. And then finally, the 1-2 punch of Seismic Flash. Rewind, followed by Nightpack Ambusher. Sure, without Growth Spiral, we're not going to be doing it on turn 3 anymore. But between Lofty Denials, Aether Gust, Brazen Borrower, we're going to be doing it on turn 4, almost guaranteed. And then, to mop up the floor, we've got Shark Typhoon. I would love to see this archetype come back, and I think it definitely has potential. That being said, with the changes I've made to this deck without Growth Spiral, Temple of Mystery, you may or you may not want to have this in your deck anymore. Try it. Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about Sonic Flash, or any Flash archetype for that matter, and we're going to chat about it. Brings us to our final deck of the evening. Red deck wins, or as I like to say, Mono Rad. Now, this deck changes day to day for me, with what I suspect is probably going to be a more potent aggro archetype, or aggro meta, I should say. I think that I'd probably take out one Embercleave, one Torbrand, and maybe one Robber of the Rich to add 3 Shocks back in, because between Shock and Bone Crusher Giant, there's a lot of pesky 2/2s that I want to murder as Mono Red, that Torbrand and Embercleave just can't save me from. That being said, with Cat being gone, you can say goodbye to Priest of the Forgotten Gods and all of the value engines associated with Sakdos or Jund Sacrifice. Still, who knows? Maybe they'll come back from the dead. I think they'll miss their kitties too much, though. But Mono Red, especially if you're climbing the best of 1 ladder, I think is the most efficient, the most powerful best of 1 deck in Standard right now. Between broken cards like Runaway Steamkin, Robber of the Rich, Fervent Champion, and Embercleave, you have so much value just playing regular old Magic. No gimmicks, no fancy combos, no 2-card value engines, just valuable cards. Fervent Champion is insane. A 1-mana 1/1. First strike, haste. Okay, it's insane. It's already insane. If you played Magic 10 years ago, Raging Goblin was good. A goblin for 1 mana that was 1/1 with haste got played. And then Fervent Champion is along 10 years later. So in addition to first strike and haste, this bad boy gives +1 to any attacking knight. And that, in this deck, isn't just another copy of Fervent Champion. It's also our handy-dandy Rimrock Knights, which can get big. And then, who cares if they have 1 toughness, because you're going to put Embercleave on them. Too good. Robber of the Rich. Steal stuff. Who doesn't like stealing stuff from their opponent, right? And then the satisfaction of attacking and stealing their things with open mana and just killing their creature with an Eliminate that costs 2 colorless mana. Or playing a Brazen Borrower as a 3/1 flyer in Mono Red and then just putting an Embercleave on it. Be still in my beating heart. I can't get over how satisfying that is. Finally, Runaway Steamkin. I'll be sad to see this rotate out, but man, what a card. It gets bigger. When it's too big, boom, it makes mana and then keeps getting bigger. You can pull off some insane turns with this bad boy, from turn 3, getting it up to a 4/4, and then playing another Anax, killing your first Anax, and then boom, you've got so many creatures that all attack, and you've got that last little Ember Cleave for the mwah, Death Kiss. Card advantage, you've got Light Up the Stage, you've got Bone Crusher Giant, because who doesn't love adventures, right? Torbrand and Embercleave are obviously your finishers, as well as, surprisingly, not surprisingly, Castle Embrith. You get enough creatures, you go wide, and you hit for big damage. I cannot say how much I enjoy Mono Red enough. I think that if you like playing Magic, and if you like winning when you play Magic, Mono Red and Best of 1 is your best bet. When you account for variance, when you account for going second, when you account for all of that, Mono Red is going to do it for you. And it had Goose Egg. 0 cards pulled during this ban. Well, those are the 4 archetypes that I really think are going to be the strongest when it comes to this season of Magic the Gathering. Like I said, Mono Black might bring it back. We might see all kinds of different control archetypes, like Esper control with lots of handy-dandy enchantments and Yorion, to Black-White control with lots of discard effects and Charming Prince in Yorion again. Joriel adventures, Tamir adventures, all of it could be very efficient, but we don't know yet. So if you have a different opinion than me, feel free to drop a comment below. I will be happy to discuss this, or you can join my Discord and hang out. You can check me out when I stream Tuesday through Thursday, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We like to hang out, we like to chit-chat, we like to make decks, we like to try decks. So please, if you guys have a minute, stop on by. But that being said, I am very happy with these bans, and I can't wait to see how this shakes up the meta. Thanks, guys.